we learned that the second major economic goal is low unemployment rate. Okay? So, every economy, every country for that matter, desires to have full employment. Meaning to say they were able to utilize their workforce. The problem arises when you have so many workers, you have so many people willing to work, but there is no available jobs. That's a problem. Okay, so we will discuss how how to compute the unemployment rate, employment rate, underemployment rate, and the labor force participation rate. But before that, we need to understand, okay, how the population is being divided. Okay, let me ask you: you are a student. Are you employed or unemployed? Unemployed because you don't have a job. No. Employed because what? I don't know. Probably you have your own business. Okay, here. The civilian population is divided into two major categories here. Not in labor force and in labor force. Okay. My question earlier was, do you belong? Or are you unemployed or employed? The answer is, you are neither unemployed nor employed. You are not just part of the labor force. You are here, not in labor force. Why? There are two main requisites for you to be part of the labor force. Number one, you should be at least 15 years old. Oh, 15 years old. Probably you're 16, 17, 18, you're above 15 years old. But the second requisite is actively searching for a job. Question, are you actively searching for a job? No. So, you don't belong here. You are here. Okay? So, if you are already part of the labor force, let's say you decided to quit studying and then you want or you are searching for a job, then you are part of the labor force. So, you are unemployed then. Okay? So, the labor force is divided into two, employed and unemployed. And then, of course, if you are employed, you could also be underemployed. Mean to say, you are working part-time and you are willing to work full-time. Okay? Or there's a mismatch. Your skills, your education do not match the jobs that you are currently doing. Okay? So how do you solve it? How do you solve the labor force participation rate? How do you solve the unemployment rate? Okay, so here, for the labor force participation rate, it is equal to labor force divided by civilian population times 100. So for the labor force, it is employed plus unemployed. The number of people who are employed and the number of people who are unemployed. So that's your labor force. Multiplied by 100 to get your labor force participation rate. So in this example, I put some numbers here, assuming that the civilian population is 100 million. Okay? The labor force, the employed is 80 million and the unemployed is 10 million. So that's why your labor force here is 90 million. So 90 million divided by 100 million times 100. Then the answer is, that's your labor force participation rate. You just do the math. You use your calculator, okay? Now for the unemployment rate, so unemployed here, the number of unemployed people, we have 10 million. Divided by labor force, which is 90 million times 100. The answer of that would be your unemployment rate. You limit to one decimal point. How about for the employment rate? So of course, you have there your employed. We have 80 million divided by 90 million times 100. Okay? And the underemployment rate, we have 1 million. The denominator here is the employed because this is a certain part of employed people who are underemployed. Divided by 80 million times 100. Okay? Questions?